Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Barry Church, Heckma Harrison, and Newy Scruggs.
Oh, yo, it's Victory Friday. Not Victory Monday. It's Victory Friday because the Cowboys pulled off a victory yesterday in New York. Yes, they did.
They did do that.
Yes, they did. Yeah, you are now rocking with the best. I'm Heckma Harrison and BC in the place to be. And this is the Players Lounge, sponsored by none other than Aristocrat Gaming.
Get in the game, baby.
Yeah, we got 45 minutes of it, and we're going to celebrate today. We're going to celebrate today.
I love it, man.
We're going to celebrate today because, BC, what I've been hearing.
What you been hearing, Big Dog?
On the, you know what? No.
Don't do it.
No.
You don't.
No.
That's almost the third time, man. That's almost Ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't care about my mentals at all.
I do.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I do.
This is almost the third time.
Whoa. Where are we coming from?
What?
Where are we coming from?
Where?
The Taj Mahal.
Oh yeah,
the Taj Mahal. Wait a minute.
Come on,
wait a minute.
that's
we're
your
coming
line.
from. We're coming from the Taj Mahal of football here.
Thank you.
And come on, at the Dallas. Man, look, I came in all frazzled, man. I got a lot of stuff going on right now. Y'all gotta forgive me.
hyped.
Man.
It's all good.
Y'all gotta forgive me. I got a lot of people talking to me on my way in here. But live from the Taj Mahal of football.
Let's run it back.
This is the Players Lounge, and man, we have a victory to talk about. And before we get into that victory, I'm gonna check these mentals. My man Barry, you spent a lot of time here last night. But how's your mentals this morning, brother? This afternoon, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It took me a couple of cups of coffee to get right after the late night last night. But, it's going good. I got to have lunch with my youngest daughter and my wife. So, went to Crayola World in between shows. I mean, so today is actually
you showed up
awesome.
clean,
I did, because, I had to get right for them this morning. Special edition. Check it out. But, the mentals is doing great, man. Beautiful day, beautiful weekend. Can't wait to watch some football. Saturday, Sunday, I get to chill and watch the football. Oh, it's going to be amazing. So the mentals are at an all-time high right now. Heck, how about yourself? How you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm good, man.
Good?
Can't complain. Dallas Cowboys won. Everything. I'm bright like rain.
You got something on Friday today? Who
positive vibes.
Okay.
Well, listen, I have obviously high school football.
There it is.
Tonight. I got a game in Argyle. The Fighting Chris Beams College Heritage Panthers.
Okay.
Go Panthers.
Okay.
What'd you say?
Go Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Hey, go Panthers. Are playing Argyle tonight, so I will be on duty on WFAA.
Him out.
Yeah, man, I will be booked and busy.
There it is.
Tonight. But man, enough about me. Okay. Let's talk about these Dallas Cowboys. It is Victory Friday for a reason, and I don't care what nobody say. You talk about it being an ugly win or whatever it is. A dub is a dub. Now, I always defer to you on things like this, Barry, because I just want to know from a guy that has played in the National Football League as long as you have, is there such a thing as a bad win?
No, you're talking about a defensive player right now. So to me, I don't look. There's bad play within a win, and you sometimes that could happen. Like if you go out there, you get burnt for 2 tubs, but your team ends up winning. So you over there, hey, a dub is a dub, but your play was bad. So I mean, I understand all that, but at the end of the day, man, we all understand how hard it is to get a W in the National Football League, especially against a division rival. So to me, a dub is a dub. It was ugly, it was choppy, and we'll discuss a little bit of this, but I'd never take away, hey, you 2-2. Would you rather be 2-2 or 1-3? You know what I'm saying? So to me, there's never a bad W in the National Football League. Go ahead and take that, man. Take the victory lap.
I mean, and the thing that's really kind of startling to me is that just 24 hours ago, before the game, we were talking about if the Cowboys lose this game, that the season is lost, that Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat, and that this may mean disaster for the Dallas Cowboys. And then all of a sudden, the Cowboys go to the Meadowlands, they win the game, and now it's like, oh.
See, now we can't do that, though. We can't do that, though. We cannot do that because there's still some things. There's still some questions that need to be answered.
Yes.
But overall, you would, like I said, you would take that 2-2 over 1. Just think about if it was 1-3 right now. You lost to a team that you have beaten 12 straight times.
Right.
Mathematically, you would still be in it. Consider talking about playoffs and all that stuff. So at 1-3, you wouldn't be out mathematically, but the psyche in that locker room would have been I would have been destroyed. Right. I mean, you talk about arguments on the sideline. You took an L. You took an L to New York. I mean, whew, that plane ride would have been very, very interesting on the way back. But hey, that's all to the side. They got the W, so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about some of the numbers that were put up yesterday for Dak Prescott. That was his 13th win in a row versus the New York Giants.
Talking about sunning a team.
That's sunning. That's only Bob Greasy has more wins versus his team.
Greasy.
I had to go back.
You went back on that one.
Hot tub time machine on that one, dog. Bob Greasy has 17 straight victories versus the Buffalo Bills, and obviously that's saying a lot. But Dak Prescott, 13 wins versus New York. He's on the NFC East, and the numbers just continue to get better because Brandon Aubrey yesterday hit a 60. We talked about the 51-yard miss, but he hit a 60-yarder. He is the second player in NFL history to make multiple 60-yard field goals. And we're talking about our kicker, who is not just any other kicker. He is proving to be a weapon for the Dallas Cowboys. And also for Coach Mike McCarthy, he is 18-7 versus the NFC East. So a guy that has been on the perpetual hot seat from the beginning of this year, going out and winning that game says a lot about him and his coaching tenure since he's been here as well. But with a win yesterday, Dallas is now 9-2 all time on Thursday nights, not including Thanksgiving, by the way. No.
So, I've been a part of a couple of those.
Hey, man, I'm cooking the books over here.
I got old Madoff out here.
I'm cooking the books over here. But one of the things that we wanted to do, man, just to spice up the show, and we came up with an idea on the Players Lounge to hand out loaves. So, Barry, would you please explain to the people how if you get a loaf, it is perceived as a negative thing, but today it's going to be a positive thing. What is a loaf in football terminology?
So the negative portion of the loaf, I went under Marinelli. That was my defensive coordinator for a couple years here with the Dallas Cowboys, and a loaf was considered if you got passed up on the football field by any other position, like you're racing towards the football and somebody else passed, especially like a D-line or a linebacker, since I was in the secondary, passed you up to get to the football, that would be considered a loaf. Okay, so that was the negative, thought process when it comes to the loaf. But here on the Players Lounge, so let them know. Let them know.
So getting a loaf on the Players Lounge is actually a good thing because if you are a movie buff and you have watched Paid in Full, Calvin on Paid in Full said he pulled out a wad of money. He said, "I'm baking biscuits for the project."
Hey, that's the biscuits,
baking biscuits for the project. That means, baby, we making it hot. And so we are picking a player on the defensive end and on the offensive end to give this loaf to, because that means you was hot and you were baking the team that was on the other side of you. So, BC, I'm going to allow you to hand out the first loaf. Yes, sir.
You're going to give me the honors?
It's the Players Lounge, man. You a player, and I want to make sure you get this loaf out.
Man, this is one of the top honors you can have, all right? Handing out the loaf, the artisan sourdough bread loaf.
Yes.
So
from Tom Thumb.
Yeah, check it out. Oh, you can also get it at Albertsons as well. So for me, my loaf on the defensive side of the football. All right, I think I know where you're going with it, but me, I'm gonna give my loaf to a guy that he's on the second level. All right, the guy might be the fastest defender that the Cowboys have, including Micah Parsons. This guy has been known to hand out loaves when you talk about the Marinelli version of the loaves. That's the way he's passing these guys up to get to the football. But yesterday, this man was all over the football, and I'm talking about number 13, Demarion Overshown. I mean, you get the inaugural loaf right here. You get the inaugural loaf on the defensive side of the football because that man was all over the place. All right, he was not only helping in run support, but he was out there guarding and making sure he tackled guys in the open field against slot receivers. Right. Some of the quickest, fastest guys out there. Neighbors, one of the best young. I mean, that dude's awesome now. That dude's good. One of the best young wide receivers out there. And Overshown was with him the entire time. So on the defensive side of the football, Overshown, you get the inaugural loaf, baby.
That's
the very first loaf. All right, take this right here. And this is, I'm telling you right now, this is like getting the Heisman damn near. All right, so go ahead and take this loaf back to your locker and put it up tight somewhere, man. But you get the inaugural loaf from your boy BC.
So, look, man, that's so awesome, first of all, because there's nobody better to give that to, because I think that DeMarvin overshown the previous game against the Baltimore Ravens. Boy, he'd have been on the other side of the loaf.
Checking shoe size.
Because that wasn't a good showing, but he made up for it in this game versus New York Giants, and obviously the production was there. I am going to hand my loaf.
What you gonna do with the loaf?
To somebody that was out there, boy, he was burning them boys, man. And I mean, he was putting in major work, and he was my Yeti Cool customer. On Wednesday, Tuesday, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
He came out to be my Yeti Cool customer, but none other than Sedarius Lamb. I'm gonna give this loaf to CeeDee Lamb, because CeeDee Lamb went out there, and basically what CeeDee Lamb said was, "Look, I hear you talking."
We were doing a lot of talking.
We're doing a lot of talking. All right. And I know y'all got a lot of camera angles of me and what I was saying, but what y'all didn't hear me, what I was actually saying was, man, just give me one more time to put this butter on these boys.
Not butter the biscuits.
No, you know what I'm saying? We gonna butter them up. And that's exactly what he did.
He did.
Man, he went out there, he did his thing. 7 receptions for 98 yards, man. What a good showing for CeeDee Lamb. This Cowboy offense seemingly getting back on track in the first half. Obviously, second half, different story, but still able to pull out this victory. Man, before we go to the first break, man, I want to just get an overall opinion from you on the game. Obviously, fan bases, media, everybody's a little bit torn on what this victory means for the Dallas Cowboys, but what were your overall thoughts on that victory?
Well, so let me go ahead, since you just gave it to Sedarius. Hilarious.
That's my mama named it.
He said, hey, wow, I didn't know that. But I'm going to start on the offensive side of the football. To me, was, Dak Prescott's numbers out there gaudy? No, they weren't gaudy by any stretch of the imagination. I believe he went out there and 22 of 27, 221 yards out there. He was sacked once, but he had 2 touchdowns out there. And the most important stat of all, this man didn't turn the football over. And those are the numbers that I need to see from a Dak Prescott. Right. All right. Right there in the middle, 22 of 27 out there. You're not turning the football over, which means you're not putting your team in harm's way. He was extremely accurate with the football out there, only missing 5 passes to those wide receivers. And what outside of turnovers, I loved the fact that he was able to get other people involved. It wasn't just CD or bust, all right? You got Tolbert in there. You had Cooks on a slant out there. You was able to spread the love to all the teammates, and that's exactly what we were talking about, I believe, 2 weeks ago when we were talking about him being a force multiplier out there, making sure he rises all boats with his tide. And that's what he was doing out there. He was getting everybody. Ferg, everybody had a piece of it. L Boogie.
Oh, my God.
Had a piece of it. And I never thought I'd see the day. Never thought I'd see the day where I'm like, you know what? L Boogie was out there, and he was doing this thing. But shout out to Mr. Prescott on the offensive side of the football, raising all those guys' level of play out there. That's what you love to see. And then, the negative part about it offensively, that offensive line, I mean, you're going to have growing pains. Yep. You're going to have growing pains with those 2 young players in there. But Guyton, we got to get you a little bit better. All right,
we're going to get into that.
We're going to get into that? All right, so I'll wait for that. Let me switch to the defensive side of the football.
Okay.
The defensive side of the football, I loved what I saw against the run. I mean, you hold a team to, 26 yards, total rushing after giving up all those yards that you've had the previous games. That's what happens when this defense works as a unit out there. Now, I understand, they weren't going against Derrick Henry. They weren't going against Kamara out there. You're going against it. I understand all that, but you can only play who you got on the schedule, all right? And they were able to go out there and dominate against the run when you talk about playing as a unit. Our guy, for the first time I think I've ever seen, Mozzie Smith showed up, man.
Yeah, he did.
He showed up in a big way, and that defensive line kept those linemen off of the second level, and that's what I think was the pivotal part. You were able to get Overshown to go sideline to sideline, use that speed, and Hendricks was able to come downhill. Now, there's some things we need to worry about in the secondary, which we'll touch on a little bit later, but overall, I liked what I saw from the defensive side of the football, and I loved what I saw from Dak Prescott.
So, one of the things that I always say to you when we're having conversations about offense, or specifically about quarterbacks, as it relates to Dak Prescott, I never confuse him with the likes of the Patrick Mahomes of the world, the Aaron Rodgers of the world. I don't put him in that because those guys to me are expert marksmen, and I can tell they've done it at a high level for years and years and years. Just the velocity, the placement on the ball. But one thing that I'm seeing from Dak, and not a lot of people are giving him credit for, is his placement now on balls. We talked about this at the beginning of the season, and I said this because I knew that CeeDee Lamb was going to face more double teams than he'd ever faced before because of the money and because of the success that he's having. Dak is able to make those tight window throws, and you saw a ton of those. Guy, on several plays to CeeDee Lamb, he's tagging and putting the ball on him. On a throw that he had to what's my man Tolbert.
That was on the money.
On the money throws, and Dak is having to make these throws a lot of times under duress, moving to his left, throwing with with right. Obviously, he's a right-handed quarterback, but man, those are just things that you're starting to see the maturation of his game as he starts to elevate that play. As you talk, rising tide raises all boats, and that's what you have to do because. Understandably, if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, you have to say to yourself, man, they don't, aside from CeeDee Lamb, who are the other playmakers? Exactly. Now, I'm forcing Ferg to be in there, and Ferg obviously has 7 catches, 49 yards. But other than that, you don't see the second, third, and fourth guy to being the production that you need. So you're going to have a quarterback that can almost take these guys, carry him on their back, and put them in positions to be successful. Okay. And that's what I saw yesterday. I think offensively, overall, the Cowboys still leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not going to lie. There's still a lot to be desired on that side of the ball. But 22 of 27, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
That's the big one right there.
No interceptions, and we've seen in those games before it's a oopsie daisy or a tip pass.
Could have turned the whole thing around.
It turned the whole thing around, and we didn't see that last night. And I'm telling you, really impressed with Dak Prescott and the way that he led this offense yesterday. But we got to talk about this defense that has been historically bad through 3 games of the season. Zim must have put his pimp hand down.
Where's my powder? Where's my powder?
Because I'm telling you, the defense came out and they were changed. But what we're going to do is take our first break and come back here on the Players Lounge.
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
Hey Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle?
Visit blockchain.com/cowboys to get started.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys! Back to the Players Lounge.
This segment was brought to you by Yeti, the official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys. This is the Players Lounge in the SWBC Mortgage Studios. Heckman Harrison with my man Barry Church,
yes, sir.
Former Dallas Cowboys safety. And Barry, we've broken down a lot about everything overall, but specifically, all eyes were on this defense.
Oh yeah, I was laser focused.
All eyes was on the defense because they'd given up 400 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns in this season, and that's the highest in the NFL. Dead last in rush yards allowed. That's not a good thing. Even if if you think that you can make it to the Super Bowl, you can't do it with numbers like that through.
It's impossible.
It's impossible through 17. But yesterday, the Cowboys came into the Meadowlands, and, man, they put up some numbers that we hadn't seen for a very long time. The Dallas Cowboys halted the Giants' running game to 1.08 yards per carry. Emphasis on the 08. The 6th lowest allowed rushing average in franchise history. The last time the Cowboys allowed less than 1.08 yards per carry was in 2015 against the Blue Eagles. I think I know a man.
Yeah,
I think I know a guy that was on the field for that game.
Yeah. There was a guy in the vicinity.
There was a guy. But when you look at these teams, when you look at that, you guys in the performance, maybe if you remember it, but also just being on one of those defenses, obviously, that just can't turn off a faucet, can't stop it, no matter what. And all of the football sayings, running down your throat, I can't be stopping those bleeds, whatever. You're getting ran on, right? Yeah. And they couldn't stop it. But the emphasis on stopping the run yesterday was apparent, and they did a wonderful job in doing it.
Yeah, they did an awesome job. And to me, what stuck out the most, what I was just like, man, you know what? I haven't seen that, from a Cowboys defense in the past, 2 years when you talk about stopping the run. Was defensively, that D-line, they made a new line of scrimmage. And what I mean by that is you saw the first 2 games where running backs weren't getting touched until they got to the second level. Right. I mean, guys were getting pushed back 5-10 yards. We saw the one play where my man's got pushed all the way to the end zone and he was playing your one technique. That just can't happen. But in this game, you saw that push. And predominantly, to my surprise, the push came from Mozzie Smith on that interior. He was able to start a new line of scrimmage a yard back from the previous one, which means those guys that were getting the handoff, Singletary out there, Tracy as well, Gray, they had to stop the feet. They had to bounce. The hole just wasn't there because these guys were penetrating that line of scrimmage and pushing these guys backwards, all right, into the laps of those running backs. And what that happened was those deuce blocks or those double team blocks where they were able to push guys out of the way and work their way up to that second level at the linebacker level, they weren't able to do that, all right? They had their hands full with the one guy on that double team. So that allowed, like I said earlier, Overshown and Kendricks to do what they do best, all right? And that is just run sideline to sideline in Overshown's case and downhill in Kendricks' case. So to me, I love the fact that that line of scrimmage was getting pushed back, and they were winning first and second down. Now, we'll get into a little bit of the questions I have about, whether they were getting enough pressure on them, the secondary, all that good stuff. But when you talk about the run defense, these guys played outstanding as far as the front seven is concerned, in my opinion. They were playing as a unit, and that's what you didn't see those first couple games. Micah Parsons talked about it last week as far as hero ball is concerned. All right, everybody trying to do their own thing, make sure they get to the football, make sure they're the one that makes the tackle. This time, if you had the contain and the responsibility, they had that contain brick wall. You got to go back that way if you want to be successful. And if you went back that way, that's where all the troops were coming from. So to me, it just looked like a team that was playing as a unit and finally kind of understood the scheme and believed in the scheme that Zimmer was putting out there. Because those guys, there were no, missed gaps. There were no, oh man, should I hit there or I'm hesitating here? I don't know. Do I have the B gap when this happens? Do I have the A gap when that happens? Guys were playing 100 miles an hour. And I don't care if they were playing wrong. They were all playing 100 miles an hour. And that's what you got to do in this situation. You can't second guess yourself. You can't second guess the scheme that Zimmer has out there. And those guys, they played as a unit, especially that front seven.
What was big for me, and I think what I questioned from this team, especially even the Cleveland game, they look like a team that was playing a new defense. Mm-hmm. And they've looked like that hesitancy that you're just talking about. Mm-hmm. It seemed like these guys were not playing with the same muscle memory that they were playing with when they had Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator. And little things that I noticed, like from Mozzie in this game, and I don't know without talking to Coach Zimmer personally, I can only just guess that, when I see Mozzie looking like he's, it has two gap responsibilities, he's standing straight up and he's trying to, stonewall these guys. But I don't know if he's big enough to be able to do it. I'm talking about height-wise. You got to have some pretty long arms to be able to stand up in two gap like that. But what I did see in this game, and maybe this is a new wrinkle for him and them just trying to play to his strengths, is him being able to shoot that gap and then make the offense try to guess what he's doing or come back around and stunt the backside, A gap, and allow guys to flow and do things like that. But what eminently seemed like was the better part to me of this defense was absolutely seeing what you just said, those Overshown being able to flow and run downhill, Hendricks being able to flow and run downhill. It made life so much better for that second level, and it just gave me those not Ed Reed, but guys like number 52, Ray Lewis, guys like that would flow. And you always had an Elodi Nada. You always had Saragusa. You had a guy up front that really controlled that defense because he was the person that anchored that defense down in the middle. And if he was the one getting blown back, then the whole defense was compromised. And that's what I've been seeing these last couple games, the defense be compromised. And guys like number 55, Lawson. Like we hadn't seen much from him, and obviously we wanted to know what he was. Man, Lawson gave you some good reps. Number 55 gave you some good reps, and maybe he's a one-trick pony with the bull rush aspect of it. But and also Chauncey Golston. Chauncey Golston, like you said, 100 miles per hour.
That's what
if I'm wrong, I'm fast.
Yep. If I'm going wrong, I'm gonna go fast. I'm gonna run through your face.
And I'm telling you, I'm seeing him and just seeing him put that extra hustle in it. But that to me was the difference in that game last night. Now, here's the other part about it. Malik Neighbors is the real deal.
No, he's a dog.
He is the real deal.
He gave everybody anything they wanted.
Man. And I think coming into this game, I wanted to kind of psych myself out. He did that versus them. He won't do that versus us. And, man, he went out there and he played some ball, and seeing our secondary have to make those adjustments. And I know we said we're going to pick up on this a little bit later, but then that was the perfect time to do it, is the cornerback play, but also the safety play. You being a former safety for the Dallas Cowboys, the Jacksonville Jaguars, you know a thing or two about playing the position. What just overall, I don't want to ask you for a grade, but just in your expert opinion about the secondary and specifically the safeties, what have you been seeing from those guys, and what do you question, or what could they do better, or what are they doing best to make this all flow?
Well, I'm going to start with the safeties. And when you talk about, safety play, I believe Malik Hooker, this was probably one of his better games when you talk about it out there. This guy is predominantly in the deep part of the field. He's that kind of Ed Reed-ish player that kind of has to roam back and forth and make sure nothing gets over top of his head. And we've seen that happen on occasion so far this season, especially that Baltimore game. He was victimized by a post corner that went right over his head. To me, he went out there and he made sure that nothing super explosive was getting over the middle. Yes, Daniel Jones was dotting his team up between, 5 and 15 yards. He was dotting his team up. But those big-time explosive plays, Malik Hooker made sure everything was kind of kept in front of him, at least on his side of the field. Now, when you talk about the corner play out there, there was a lot left to be desired. And that's something that's going to worry me. And I hope and pray that Deron Bland is going to get back quick, because we saw from Booth out there, the young man that they traded for during the offseason. It just wasn't up to par. I'm trying to be as nice as I can when you talk about this, but it just wasn't up to par. I mean, the man was biting on double moves, and there's an old line. I forget, one of my offensive coordinators used to say it all the time to Dez Bryant when he got one of these corners out there. Oh, we got a fish on the hook. We got a fish on the hook. And you saw Daniel Jones and this offense make sure that they went at they went at Andrew Booth each and every time. And that's why he had to come out of that game, because they were going at that man each and every time. And it was just like, after a while, you could see his confidence just slowly fade, because he was not even trying to play press. He was like, y'all can have all that underneath stuff, as long as I don't get beat for the touchdown. But it was giving up those 15-yarders, those 10-yarders, that was really just like, man, you're questioning your own skill set out there. As a corner, you got to have that short-term memory. You're going to get beat. Guys in this league are outstanding outstanding on the offensive side of the football. So you're going to get beat, but you got to have that short-term memory to realize that, hey, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here all day. And I saw that confidence slowly fade from Booth. So when they brought his replacement in there, I don't want to butcher his name. I'm going to
butcher it.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, because I don't want to do it.
Arawari?
Number 27. He went out there and he fought. He fought. He got beat too, but he fought out there. And that's what you got to have in the secondary. You got to have that short-term memory. But overall, when I look at this secondary, because the pressure, it just wasn't there on Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
the pressure, it wasn't there. And he was able to dot these guys up, and that's something that's concerning to me. Because, they love to play the zone coverage in Zimmer's system, and we get all that. But you're going to have to go against teams where eventually you're going to have to try to lock up. And outside of Diggs out there, are we confident that these guys can win these one-on-ones? Malik Neighbors is a rookie. He's a dog.
Yeah.
But he was a rookie out there, and they made that man look like he was, Odell Beckham back in his prime. I mean,
right.
it was a lot left to be desired in that back end. But as Newey and as everybody always says, the back don't work without the front. Yeah. And you got to get that rush out there. And to me, that's why I'm praying that the big bazooka, the missile, gets back extremely fast, because without him, there is no pressure. Yeah, and I'm going to be real about that. There's no pressure. Yeah. Zimmer tried to bring some slot pressure, some safety pressure in there, but then you're leaving your already extremely thin secondary out there to get exposed. And if they had a better quarterback out there, I'm keeping it 100. If they had a better quarterback out there, a lot of things differently might have happened, because he had some wide receivers that were behind these defensive backs throughout this game, but Daniel Jones wasn't able to hit him out there. So to me, I'm slightly concerned about this secondary going forward.
Man, this is one of the great things about working here at DallasCowboys.com, obviously, is the Taj Mahal of football, other than that. But still, you get an opportunity to talk with, Super Bowl champions, all pros, Pro Bowlers, guys that have done it at a high level, guys that have done all those things. So when you talk about, the position play and, wins, losses, things like that, you always get it put into perspective, from guys that obviously can tell you. And I think for me, as an analyst, as a broadcaster, to be able to feed off of that, to just see, all right, this is what I'm watching on tape in these safeties, and I'm seeing these guys overcommitting, pretty much just taking bad angles.
I will say that about Hooker, because that last throw, I think it was like maybe 30 seconds on that last drive. Bro, that was a bad angle. Yeah. Like, if, a half a step this way or that way, and my man's, I think his name was Robinson, number 17. That could have been a tub, man. Yeah. So that is something I will say. The angles out here is, there's a lot left to be desired. Yeah. I'll just put it like that.
No, and things like that, I think, especially when I was watching the Baltimore games, it was less bad angles in this game versus the Baltimore game.
Yeah, it got better.
And, I question whether if that had anything to do with King Henry.
Business decisions were made, bro. I'm going to keep it a bean.
You didn't take that same angle last time. But either way, guys were a little bit more anxious to run into the 5'7", 205-pound running back that they had back there. But, some of those angles that I've been seeing in some of those games, and just talking about guys playing hero ball, to me, when you have a good safety, when you have a good safety. The Ed Reeds of the world, the Troy Palomalus of the world, even to this day, Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of those guys. He's a dog. When you watch him out there, you're like, oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looked like. And so, I'm just seeing our safeties here lately, and that's why I say guys that look like they're playing in a new defense, I'm seeing angles, especially from Donovan Wilson. I'm seeing things out of Donovan Wilson that I hadn't seen before. I'm going back to this, I think it's fourth quarter, third quarter. It was a fourth down, and the Giants went for plenty of fourth downs. But Dono has the guy dead to rights, and he misses.
Yeah, tackling was an issue, and it's been an issue all season long. And when you talk about Donovan Wilson, he reminds me a lot of my running mate that I had here at Dallas and J.J. Wilcox. I mean, that they will come at you 100 miles an hour. And if they catch you, now you're going to get lit up. If they catch you, it's going to be a light-up show. But if they don't, I mean, it's a big-time whiff, because, they coming at it 100 miles an hour, and these guys are throwing shoulders and throwing elbows. I don't know what happened, but it used to be, you had to hit with a shoulder and wrap up. Right. It wasn't always about the big hit and coming in there and causing this huge collision. We love those. And when you're in a phone booth in that box and you could just tee off on somebody, amazing. But when you're in that open field, you got to wrap up. And if it takes you, going down and wrapping up that ankle and that man kind of dragging you for 2 yards, at least you get him down.
Right.
All right, when you whiff out there and that man gets an extra 5-10 yards, that's when it really hurts you. That's that leaky yardage we talk about. So to me, the tackling, it's got to get a lot better in the open field. And the secondary wasn't the only ones out there missing tackles in the open field. But overall, I'd like to see, maybe it's early in the season and maybe they'll get, they're used to it because they didn't do any preseason action. But they got to get better in the tackling them or it's going to hurt them.
Man, well, talking about getting drugged and having to do better, we got to talk about our offensive line and some usual suspects that we have on our offensive line, man. But either way, this is the Players Lounge and it is Victory Friday. We handed out loaves earlier, man. I don't know you're going to take yours home, man. Feed the family. Put some jam on that.
Some jam on that. It's over with. Kiss the baby. It's over with.
It's the Players Lounge. We'll be right back.
I'm Cowboys alumni Danny McCray, here with Smoothie King asking, what's that sound? That's the sound of me sipping one of their power-packed smoothies with over 10 grams of protein. With real fruits and organic veggies, because at Smoothie King, what you see is what you sip. So grab a delicious Smoothie King smoothie, throw a straw in your jaw, and get sipping real. Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
Raising Cane's presents the other rules of football. Rule 1. Any broadcast without the express edition of cook-to-order Cane's chicken fingers is prohibited. Rule 12. No crinkle-cut fries, Texas toast, or craveable Cane's sauce constitutes an illegal formation. And Rule 31, anybody who loves to feed their game face is an eligible receiver of Cane's. When it comes to winning game day, Cane's rules. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Go Cowboys.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboy Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboy fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/fan of the year. Go Cowboys. This is the Players Lounge. He is Barry Church, and I am Heckman Harrison. Newey Scruggs is on his way to Manhattan right now. Yeah. He's going to be out. I don't think we're going to see Newey till Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, he got the daughter.
Yeah. So
KSU.
Got a lot of things going on. And look, man, we got to give it up to Newey right now.
Yeah. You're right, man. I'm glad he ain't here to hear this.
Give it up, man. So we picked scores, and I don't know where he picked how. I don't even know how he came up with this score.
Got some insider info.
You know what I'm saying?
Man. Something with it. I don't know.
Newey Scruggs' score was 19-14.
It's crazy.
How the hell?
I don't know how the hell he got that one. I don't know how he did that.
How the hell? 19 he called it. Man, good thing he's not a betting man.
Yeah.
But you know what? The other part is, man, this offensive line, obviously we pull out the win, but Barry, I just look, this is I don't want to be a part of the crowd that overreacts to anything. Okay. But when I see Tyler Guyton, and I understand playing the left tackle position, one is the premier position on the offensive line other than the quarterback. You have to have a guy that can hold down the fort. You have some of the best players in the National Football League. San Francisco definitely has one. That sets the tone for everything that they do. But man, I'm watching Guyton and I'm saying to myself, Dak, watch out.
Yeah.
Dak,
It's the blind side, right?
Yeah. Dak, watch out. Thibodeau on one, man, he went went upfield, swept back in underneath, and I'm telling you, Tyler Guyton didn't even have a chance to put a hand on him.
Yeah, that's facts.
And things like that, to me, Barry, it worries me and it concerns me when you have the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League, one bull rush away or one, swim move or whatever away from being hit in the back. Look, it's concerning, and we've had to deal with this game after game after game, and we're getting to the point where even with the penalties and things like that, it's just like I don't want to say disaster waiting to happen, but we're getting there as it relates to the penalties and the sacks allowed.
Yeah. One of those things that, you got to talk about is the penalties. It is. And to me, I was talking to Big Nate Newton yesterday while we were doing the pregame, and he's saying he's getting beat on the consistent, like you said, the up and under move, where he believes he's oversetting because he's kind of worried about that player's speed and getting beat on the outside, but he's giving up a lot on the inside. We saw Thibodeau, we saw Burns, using that to their advantage, hitting them with that outside step, getting them to open up, and then boom, using their speed to come right back inside. And I don't know, I didn't play the offensive line, but I don't know if it's a strength thing, a technique thing, whatever the case may be. But once they get to that inside leverage on them, they seem to be able to take that half man, that half shoulder, wherever he's at, and kind of drive him right back into the quarterback and either getting the sack, causing a pressure, or forcing Dak Prescott to get off his mark, get out of the pocket and start, scrambling around trying to make something happen. And that's when it gets tough, for a quarterback, because we always, defensively, we've been taught that inside pressure is the hardest at the quarterback. Tom Brady used to hate it when people be right up in his face. And you try to step up in the pocket and you're like, oh man, I got to deal with this big dude right here. And if you get that edge pressure, they can always step up and kind of finagle their way inside the pocket. Right. But when you got guys on the outside being able to swim inside and getting that interior pressure, I mean, that causes a little bit of concern out there. And we all know Guyton's on the left side, the blind side. And there comes to a time and a point where you start to say, man, do we need to put some more resources towards helping him? Do we need to have some chipping guys out there as a tight end, maybe Ferguson or Hell Boogie out there trying to chip, or a running back going over to his side? Because as of late, as that game progressed, you saw they were kind of like, all right, man, Guyton, we're trying to give it to you now. We're trying to, let you do what you got to do on that outside to be that premier left tackle. But time and time again, he was, either getting pressured on or, like you said, he was getting hit or sacked. Yeah. So, maybe we should talk to Big Nate Newton to see what he feels about it.
We have
to me, it's just like, man, he's left a lot to be desired these first couple games playing that left tackle position.
Man, look, man, here's the deal about me, man. Nate Newton is the only friend that I have that is an offensive lineman. I don't hang with offensive linemen.
Same
I tell you, man.
They're great people, but hey,
I call them despicable humans, man. I tell you, man. The big fellas, man. They do so much damage, man. They roll on you, get you on the grade, do so many dirty things to you, man. But having those conversations with Nate Newton, and I kid about despicable humans. But either way, having that opportunity to talk to somebody like him, and to me, I think as Nate said to me, it's just getting out leveraged. Not being able to step out completely, and when he does, I mean, he's too far over his skis one way or another, and the guy's able to hit a move on him, and he gets beat badly. To me, when I look at him, I'm just talking about physicality, eyeball test things. I guess we're spoiled because we used to have a guy that sat out there 6'7", 6'8", 315 pounds, and he was chiseled out of granite.
And a dog from rookie season.
He was a fighter. 7'7". I mean, he had heavy hands.
Oh, man.
And he would pound on dudes, and you would see it would happen over a game, man. And it would, at the end of it, you're just like, man, that is hard to get around somebody that big and physical and just not allowing you any room. On the other side, when I look at Guyton, and I know that he's a rookie, he has so much that he needs to improve on, but getting in that weight room, he doesn't look very strong to me.
That's what the thing I was taught. Like, to me, when you go out there, and I played against Tyron, I played against some of the best out there. When they put them hands on you, even if you beat them on the inside, if they got one punch on you, guys was feeling that. You can see it on tape. Bow. Oh man, he getting my chest. Like, I don't see that when guys beat him on the inside like yesterday. He would get the hands on him, and they would kind of just get me through there. Let me rip right through there. And to me, it's just, like I said, I don't know if it's a strength issue, a technique issue, or whatever the case may be, but the hands just don't seem heavy or punishing enough. Yeah. And like I said, I've been spoiled because I played with, Big 7'7", and when he put them paws on you, it was a different story. You stopped. Exactly.
CBeasy. we want to pick these games, man. We done talked about the victory. We had the 24-hour rule on the victory too.
Okay.
Because we got to. No matter what, we got a rough patch ahead. Don't get comfortable, Cowboy Nation, because after this we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. After that we have Detroit, the Detroit Lions. Was it Detroit? Then we have a bye, and then after the San Fran, and then we go to Atlanta. So it doesn't get any easier by any stretch. Let's run it down, Chris.
All right. So first game we're gonna pick this week is the Rams at Chicago. I'll give you Newey's pick if you'd like.
Yeah,
first. Please. He's picking the Rams.
Okay, I want to see Chris got it. Okay.
And his score for the Rams is 23-15.
Playing in Chicago?
That's in Chicago, yes.
Yeah, that's a tough
one. Puka and them out too, huh?
Puka and them still out, man.
Still.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Chi-Town on this one. I'm going Chi-Town. I think they're missing a lot, and Caleb Williams, it's a game that he needs to make up for, and they're playing in Chicago, so I'm gonna go Chicago on this one.
Yeah, in Chicago, that defense for Chicago is cold. So I'm you know what, I'm gonna have to go with Chicago as well. You know, Puka and them being out. Stafford is playing amazing. But,
he is.
You know, I gotta give Chicago this one. I'm gonna go 21-14 Chicago.
21-14. I go 20-15. There you go. Back up. Go point down.
All right, so next game we got is Minnesota at Green Bay. Green Bay's getting 2.5.
Hitting 2.5. Is Love playing?
The reports are he's going to play. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
He's questionable.
And they're playing
in Green Bay.
In Green Bay. Minnesota at Green Bay.
What's Newey's pick?
He picked Green Bay 21-20.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to go with the Vikings on this one. I'm going with the Vikings. I'm going with the boogeyman, Baba Yaga. The defensive coordinator got to play. Yeah, he got to play over there, man. And I think I like the Vikings defense, even though they have some firepower now on offense. I'm going to go with the Vikings. I'm going to go 24-17.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, Jordan. If it was Jordan Love, I would for sure go Green Bay, but you know what? I'm going to still go with him. I like what Malik Willis was doing out there these past couple games. So give me Green Bay in a low one, 17-14.
Oh, man. All right.
All right, next game up, we got Philly going to Tampa Bay. Philly is favored by 2.5 going to Tampa Bay.
Are you going to go shake and bake on this one? What you got?
And Newey went with Philly. 26-23.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something, man. The Boo Eagles, you know how much I despise them. Yeah. But I'm going to have to take the Boo Eagles on this one. I'm going to take the Boo Eagles. Wow. Yeah, I know. That just feels nasty. That feels nasty.
That tastes back in your mouth?
That feels wrong. Wow. That feels wrong. But I'm going to do that. Boo Eagles, I'm going to go 27-17.
Oh, I can't believe it.
I know.
It's a new day, ladies and gentlemen. A new day. I'm gonna go ahead and go with, my boy K Moore up north. So I'm gonna go Philly on this one. 28-24.
28-24. What you got, Chris?
All right, next game we got Washington traveling to Arizona.
That's gonna be a good game.
Arizona is favored by 5.
It's gonna be a good game. It's a long travel, though, for Washington. I'm going to go first. It's a long travel.
By the way, Newey picked Arizona 31-24.
Okay. I used to hate going all the way out in those long games. So give me Arizona. Give me my boy Call of Duty, Kyler Murray. Let me get Arizona 31. Not Philly. Washington 21.
You know what? I'm going to have to go with Arizona. They have a wide receiver over there, last name Harrison. He's obviously from a good family, so I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals and 17-10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and our last game we're picking is going to be Seattle at Detroit. Detroit's favored by 4.5.
That's going to be a good game.
Seattle at Detroit.
And then Newey went with Detroit 31-22.
You know what's so crazy? I was saying to myself the other day, I don't even know who. This is a bad thing to admit. I don't know who Seattle's coach is.
McDonald, the cat from Baltimore.
That's what I was saying. Like,
defense
who
player
is that?
from Baltimore.
Who is that? I don't even, I couldn't pick him in a lineup. I mean, we got so much stuff going on around here. I have no idea who their coach is.
They got our old D-line coaches. They DC now.
Is it? Okay. All right, thank you, man. Thank you for bringing me into the know. Because I was like, who the hell?
I mean, Seattle's undefeated, right?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Smith balling.
You haven't heard anything about him. Who you got, man? Who did Newey go with? You said Detroit?
He went with Detroit 31-22.
I think Detroit they're getting back to that mentality where we're a run first team. So in Detroit, give me the Lions 24-17.
You know, the word of the week has been front runner, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go with Detroit. I'm gonna go with Detroit on this. Detroit at the crib. Pink Gators, baby. My Detroit players.
Banana cognac.
Yes, sir. 23. I'm going 23-14. 23-14 on that game.
That's all I got.
That's all you got, man. Look.
Black and Miles and banana cognac in Detroit, boy. I tell you,
we did our thing. We did. Monday, we'll be back on the Players Lounge. Hey, y'all celebrate. Don't y'all let these people tell y'all that was an ugly win. That's a good dub.
It's a dub. It is a dub.
All that. Players Lounge, put it up.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!